Do you remember the promises you made as a child? The ones whispered in hushed tones, sealed with a pinky swear under a setting sun. I made one of those promises to my dad. I was going to be an artist. He was my biggest fan, my first critic, and the one who bought me my very first set of paints. We'd spend hours together, him telling stories, me trying to capture them on canvas. He saw a world in my clumsy brushstrokes that I couldn't yet see myself. He used to say, "One day, this will be your masterpiece. The one that tells our story." Life, as it often does, had other plans. School turned into college, college into a career. The sensible choice, everyone called it, the easel gathered dust in the attic. The smell of turpentine replaced by the sterile air of an office. The promise became a distant memory, a ghost that would occasionally visit me in quiet moments. It was a soft pang of guilt, easily dismissed by the deadlines and responsibilities of adult life. I told myself Dad would understand. He wanted me to be successful, to be secure, and I was. But was I happy? That was a question I didn't dare to ask. Then, he was gone, and in the silence he left behind, the whisper of that forgotten promise grew into a roar. Sorting through his things, I found a box tucked away in his closet. It wasn't full of old files or financial documents. It was full of me. Every childhood drawing, every school art project, every smudged and amateurish painting I had ever made was there, carefully preserved. At the very bottom was a letter. His familiar, steady handwriting filled the page. He wrote about his pride, not in what I might become, but in who I was. And then, one line hit me like a physical blow. "I hope you never forget the boy who loved to paint. He's still in there. Don't let him fade away." It was a posthumous permission slip, a release from the life I had built and a callback to the one I had abandoned. The guilt I had carried wasn't from him, it was from myself. He hadn't wanted me to choose between my dream and a stable life. He had simply wanted me to be whole. And in that moment, I knew what I had to do. It wasn't about fame or success anymore. It was about honoring him, and more importantly, honoring that part of myself I had locked away for so long. So I quit my job. People called me crazy. Maybe I was. I packed a bag, took out the old dusty easel, and I started to travel. The rolling green hills of Ireland, the sun-drenched coasts of Italy, the vibrant markets of Morocco. I wasn't just seeing them for him. I was seeing them asterisk through asterisk him, through the lens of a budding artist he had so lovingly nurtured. With every new city, every new landscape, I painted. At first, my hands were clumsy, my strokes uncertain. The muscle memory was gone, buried under years of typing on a keyboard. There were moments of sheer frustration, canvases I wanted to tear in half. The inner critic was loud, telling me it was too late, that I'd wasted my chance. But then I'd think of his letter, of his unwavering belief. I wasn't just mixing colors, I was mixing memories, grief, and a slowly rekindling joy. I was painting his stories, our stories. The journey was lonely at times. There were nights in unfamiliar hotel rooms where the weight of my decision felt crushing. Was this a fool's errand? A midlife crisis masquerading as a tribute? But then morning would come, and with it, a new view, a new sliver of light, a new face and a crowd that begged to be captured. I started talking to people, hearing their stories, and realizing that everyone has a forgotten promise tucked away somewhere. My journey started to feel less like a personal pilgrimage and more like a universal one. I wasn't just painting landscapes anymore, I was painting feelings. The bittersweet ache of nostalgia in a faded photograph. The quiet courage of a stranger facing an uncertain future. The pure, unadulterated joy of a child chasing pigeons in a square. My art was becoming a conversation, a bridge between my past and my present, between my father's memory and my own future. The artist he saw in me as a child was finally emerging, not as a prodigy, but as a storyteller who had lived a little first. After a year of traveling, I came home. My apartment was filled with canvases, each one a testament to the journey. They weren't perfect, they weren't masterpieces in the traditional sense, but they were honest, they were mine. I decided to hold a small exhibition in a local gallery, not for fame or money, but as a final, public act of fulfilling that promise. I was terrified. What if no one came? What if they hated it? On the opening night, the gallery was full. Friends, strangers, and people from my old life came. They walked around, looking at the paintings, and I could see them connecting not just with the art, but with the story behind it. An elderly woman stood for the longest time in front of a painting of a lone fisherman at dawn. She came over to me, her eyes misty, and told me it reminded her of her late husband. My art had spoken to her. It had reached beyond me and touched someone else. In that moment, I understood. The masterpiece my dad had talked about wasn't a single painting. It was never about a single piece of canvas that would hang in a museum. The masterpiece was the journey itself. It was the act of remembering, of returning, of reclaiming a part of myself I thought was lost forever. It was about living a life filled with color and passion, just as he had always hoped I would. The promise wasn't a burden. It was a gift. It was a compass that, even after he was gone, pointed me back home to myself. Thank you for watching my story. If you have a forgotten promise of your own, maybe it's not too late. Follow along for more stories.